Speak. A lot of people come and go, but it won't be me. You can't break me. I just take control of the environment and get them worked up, and then I put them in retirement. I won't lose sleep if you don't have my back, but don't you try to front on me, cause you can't take that back. I'm still God's shot, regardless if they like it or not. I've been busting out the seams, I don't fit in a box. Cutting people out the picture, yeah, you might get cropped.
For joining us. We love holding a women's panel. A lot are a little nervous, so bear with us if they stutter, if I stutter. I would like to introduce everyone. We have Crystal at the end. She is a contractor. We have Miss Jessica Odell, public adjuster. Miss Candace Colucci, Esquire attorney. Myself, Melanie Spoon, PA. Tina, PA. Sarah Journey, IA and PA. Then we have Miss Jenny, PA. And then we have Alexis, administrative assistant. So. Thank you all. I would like to do a little bit, it's a women's panel, but I don't want to just focus on women empowerment. Like, that's not exactly what we are about, but we're not just about that. So I'm going to ask some questions, and if you want to answer, speak up. Some people I probably will call out. That way we get everyone to speak up. So thank you all again for being here. So to begin, when you began your career many years ago, did you ever imagine that you would have a leadership role in this industry?
Well, since I have the mic, I guess I will start. In this industry, no. My background was with Marriott for 20 years, and my responsibility was renovating and remodeling hotels. Nice. I had a lot of roles and a lot of hats to wear. Leadership as a contractor was never really in the plan. It just kind of happened.
Made its way to you.
I wasn't sure that. I figured I'd be a leader somewhere, somehow, over time. I spent 15 years in the military as an officer, so they throw you into new positions, new teams every year. So you have to lead no matter if you want to or not. So I'd already been prepared leadership-wise. I just thought it would take a very long time for me to get there because I transitioned to public adjusting, and all I heard in the beginning, with the exception of the Spoons and Mr. Hodge, in the beginning was, wait, so you have no contracting background? You have no insurance background? You'll never make it, is what people were saying. So I knew I had kind of this uphill struggle to begin with, but I didn't think that I would be here as fast. I think the military naturally just does prepare its troops and its veterans for leadership.
Resilience is definitely a word for you.
Yes. It's very good. I don't think when I started off that I knew that I would have to take some type of leadership role, but what I did start realizing when I got into the industry is that I didn't respect a lot of the practices of what I was seeing around. So that's when I realized that you may not be ready for the leadership role, but if you don't step up and start doing something different than what you're seeing, then you're going to just fall into the same trap that everybody kind of was at. So I was just seeing a lot of greed, people taking advantage of each other, of the insurance companies, of just high attorney's fees, high PA fees. I mean, for me, I was like, what I was seeing was, I'm like, okay, if people are not going to lead with their integrity and morals, and I'm going to have to create something where that's our main goal to do. Yeah. And so that's really what we strive to do at the firm, is to make sure that the insureds can be made whole. We don't have to get rich off of these single files, which is a lot of times what you're seeing. Yeah. And people will be like, well, that's a contract they signed and da-da-da. I'm like, we still have to have our morals regardless of what we signed. So there's a lot of times when we cut our fees and those things. And I knew if I was at a big firm, I wasn't going to be able to do that.
Yeah.
I was going to have to take cases I didn't feel comfortable with taking. I was going to have to not care that the insured didn't get enough to rebuild their property. And those are things that were really big for me. So I had to kind of rise to that occasion of creating my own firm and becoming that leader, because I wanted to set a path that was right for me and my morals.
Accept those opportunities.
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you? Everyone doesn't have to answer every single one, but if you would like to give input, absolutely.
So when I started this, it was a part-time job that was something other than leadership. So I was a firefighter paramedic, and I was an assistant chief. And and I was teaching at a college paramedic and EMT school, and it was just something different, and I expected it to be a part-time job, and I did not see leadership or career or none of that was on my radar, and then I fell in love.
And you're rocking it. Absolutely. No. Miss Jenny.
I'm going to say no. When I started in the PA field, I was actually just coming in to help somebody that was way overwhelmed. And so, no idea that I would even get in it and like it and have fun with it. So, no.
No.
And David and I have owned several of our own businesses, and I told him, we're never going to do that again.
Never say never.
But you literally are my right-hand woman, and you do everything kind of from behind the scenes from your house. And we've worked in an office, and you did not have a manager's position, and you managed her. So, yeah, thank you.
So for me, I did expect to have some leadership roles in any job that I've ever had. That's always kind of been the strength for me, is to kind of know every aspect as much as I can. If something comes up and I don't know about it, then that means that it's now my job. So the next person that I ask, I can make sure that I give them a good answer. So for me, yes, I did expect to have lots of leadership roles, especially as, yes, I come from this woman right here. So I have a lot of goals to live up to. Day to day, that means that she doesn't necessarily have to tell me things. I'm just able to look at an outline, and I see what needs to be done, and I go from there. So,
And that's my Walt Disney. She answers all phone calls, and she's like, thank you. Have such a great day. If you need anything, please call me back. Love her. Love it, love it. Thank you all. What motivated you to continue on this path over and over again? Yes, I am staring directly at you, Miss Pink.
Look, it's always been in me to fight for an underdog somewhere.
Yeah.
I was bullied out on the playground too when I had my glasses and my braces, and I, grew up this tomboy, even though I had this very feminine shell. Inside, I was tomboy through and through. So I had a mouth, and got bullied some here and there. And then once you got into high school, I got bullied by the it girls and blah blah blah. So, but I never put up with it. But I always saw others being put down, and they never could reach their full potential because of that. And I just would always get in there and fight for them, and I loved it.
Yeah.
So you can't really tell me no, I can't do something. I'm gonna find, if it's in me, I'm going to find a way, and I don't half-ass anything either. So it's like when I'm in something, it is 100% balls to the wall. And you're nothing less. I don't know how to be anything less.
I don't either.
In fact, most people have told me you're too much. This is too much. Tone it down. I don't know how to be anything else. And I hate to see people suffer, period. Hate, especially to the wealthy, the elite, the this, that, and the other. It's sickening. So there's always been that inner drive. And I've never tried to change a company that I've worked with or for. I just kind of kept wanting to find the right home. And that's all I ever looked at it as. I don't want to change anybody, anything. I know what I want to do in life. I just need to find the right home. And then that's it. And that's...
Absolutely. Okay, moving on.
No, I can't imagine everyone in this room has the exact same probably motivation of why they keep on going. It's because it's not just one case, it's every single case that you see. And that's what I think is so surprising about being in this industry, is that that's the one thing that does unite us. Everybody in this room is here to fight for somebody else other than yourself because of the atrocities that you've seen from an insurance company taking advantage of the lack of knowledge. And that's what I think is so beautiful about our industry. And then the other part that we always forget is that we really do need to come together. Like, us women in this industry, there's very few women. And there is a great advantage, and there's a difference. Tristan, they all know when we're dealing with adjusters or we're dealing with attorneys that are males, they assume we're stupid, we don't know anything, and we're just women. And women have a lot of great values. And so sometimes we're forgetting about that. A is their temperament towards insureds. Oh my gosh, the women usually are who are dealing with these claims, and it really is difficult to sometimes calm down a wife with what she's dealing with, and women are really good about those kind of things, but also are intelligent. So I also encourage everybody to remember we're all fighting for the same thing and to really work together, reach out. I work with all these ladies, and they love talking shop. They love talking about why something needs to be repaired, replaced, law and ordinance, all of this other stuff. And I think it always is intimidating and sometimes surprising because you don't really expect it. But that's one of the cool things about what we do is that we really are united in that same drive. We're all here because we have seen the same disgusting behavior, and we know if we don't step up, then they're going to get away with it.
No, they totally get away with it. I think my biggest thing as an insurance adjuster, I always request the most devastated areas, the poorer the community.
Yeah.
Just because, believe it or not, depending on what zip code you live in, the insurance company will take care of that person better than they do, say, in Baltimore or East St. Louis.
Oh, yeah.
Those are my favorite communities ever. That you have the male adjusters that will literally go out there and tell these little old ladies, "Oh, your grass is too wet. I can't set up my ladder," because they're afraid of the gangbangers down the corner. Invariably, I always have someone going, "Do you know what neighborhood you're in? Don't worry about it, ma'am. I carry a gun. Nobody's gonna be dumb enough to come up on me." And they're my favorite clients, but so many times, insurance adjusters just look away from them or are just observing from the ground. Yeah, I don't see nothing.
Yeah.
And I get up there and it's total devastation. These people are just in tears. That is my job. It should not ever get to you guys.
Yeah.
The claim should never get there.
Yeah.
And these people don't even know they can fight.
Yeah.
They take what they're handed and just expect that's all they're owed.
Yeah.
And I think that's what keeps me going back to being an IA, because at the forefront, I can fight. I fight with the carrier all the time. You can ask Melanie.
Oh, yeah.
She does.
I am in tears most of the time that I'm fighting for these policies. And then I get a lot of flack going back, like, "Oh, well, why'd you do this? They're just out for the money." Well, yeah, is the money faster? Yes, it is. But at the same time, we have those communities that people just do not care. They want the big mansions. They want the commercial jobs. Well, what
They're
about
not
the
worried
people
about the
that
underserved.
their ceilings falling in because their agent doesn't want them to file a claim?
Yep.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And it's an
She-
interesting perspective being an IA, because there's a bunch of other IAs in the room right now, right? Who's an IA? I thought I saw someone, or was an IA just recently. Like, it's so to be commended that you see you're on that side, which I think there's a beautiful factor. If you're working on that side or independent or whatever, and you're doing the right thing, you really are being independent.
Yep.
You're going, "Hey, this isn't right, and this is the reason why." And then you're turning around and going, "Okay, now I want to potentially help who I know needs to be helped, because I know that the insurance company is gauging in a certain way that saves them the most money." And that's a hard position to be in, and it's a hard decision to make, to put your morals over money.
Yeah, and Sarah calls me all the time, and she's literally in tears fighting. "Well, we don't cover that." She's like, "Yeah, look at your policy." So she PAs IA work. And she does call. They do it to every single person, demographic, no matter where it is.
Whoever's giving you flack, we all support you in your
Exactly.
decision, and we're glad there's IAs like you out
Yes.
there helping people on the other side.
Yes.
I think that is important to be able to have your aspect of both ends, PA and IA. So now that you've seen as a PA, you're able to go back as an IA and do things correctly and fight for people on both ends.
And not get blackballed all the time.
Yeah.
Okay, what do you think the biggest challenge is facing the diversity of our industry? What my answer is on that is that we all separate ourselves, IAs, PAs, contractors, attorneys, architects, engineers. We are all licensed for the insured. So I think that is the huge problem, is that a lot of PAs and IAs are like, "No, we're combative. We're not colleagues. We all hold this license for the insured, and that's it. That's the only reason." So that's what I think is the diversity and the biggest challenge, is making us all come together for one purpose.
For me, I get to take a lot of messages for her, so it's really, I enjoy whenever an IA calls and they're pleasant and they're willing to give all this information. I enjoy whenever it's a pleasant exchange, because that's how it should be. We're technically working for the same person. We're not on opposite ends. It shouldn't be that way.
Yep. In your opinion, what is the best way to negotiate salary and scope of work? This was mainly for my IA and contractor. What is your thoughts?
Break it down a little
when an IA gets a call and they say, okay, well, QBE wants to hire you. We want you to go to Tennessee. Like, what is the best way that you feel they're only going to pay $175 when you step out that truck? This company is going to pay $325 when you step out of that truck. How do you make them acknowledge your expertise?
You just need to demand it. When Aaron and I first started, we took every shit job out there, every deployment, but we made a name for ourselves. We made a very big name with ourselves, especially with Allstate. Vendor oversight team would call us directly going, we need you out there to deal with the PAs, the attorneys. We don't know what you're doing, denying claims. And it wasn't denying out. We were showing the insured their policy going, okay, we need to address it from this angle.
Literally highlighting it for them.
Highlighting
this is
them
what you
for
need
them,
to do.
going, okay, this is not covered, but this should have been covered. Why didn't they write it for this? Dealing with attorneys and public adjusters, we had a good rapport with them. And they just started sending us out there, but it's making a name for yourselves. I have firms calling me now going, well, we only pay 60%. Then don't call me, lose my number. I'm
your
worth
worth.
70%.
Yeah, know your worth and make them acknowledge
And know
it.
your worth. If you don't know your worth, if you can't explain why you are entitled to that payment, then you need to work on something.
If you don't know your worth, they won't know your worth. And that's really what it comes down to. I find myself saying, just say no a lot. It's a statement that I use daily. People ask me questions, just say no. You don't
That's
have
what I tell
to
her all the
accept
time.
that.
Learn the word no.
Learn the word no.
It's okay. You can tell them no.
It's tough, but I will tell you, as a contractor, there's so many contractors out there that will say yes to anything because they're so desperate for the work. I fortunately have never found myself in that position because I pick and choose the work that I want to do. And I think it's the same for IAs. I think you have to really know your value and then you pick and choose the work that you want to do based upon that value. I get the craziest calls from adjusters like, well, we need you to go take a shingle so that we can send it to our secret lab, whatever, our underground bunker or whatever they want to call it. And okay, this is our service fee for that.
Yep.
Well, we don't pay for that. Well, then I don't do the work. I literally
contractors
just
all
say
the
no.
time, yeah, you're the expert in construction, not me.
Right.
So tell me how it needs to be done so I can take this to the DA who does not know their head from their ass and go, hey, look, this is how you're the expert in that field, not me.
That's right.
Same goes for the PAs.
If you provide it to me,
Provide it to me,
the
and I
argument.
have an argument for you. But I'm not the expert in construction.
Well, and that's a very good point because I see that a lot. Obviously, we have the desk adjusters who clearly, the vast majority of them don't know. And the IAs, even though I feel like they do come with more construction knowledge, for the most part, they're still not the expert. And many of them will say, well, how are you going to do it? That's what I need to get approved, how Crystal's going to do it, right?
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it is our job as a contractor to tell you what we need to do. Is it broken? What's it take to fix it? And how much is that going to cost?
Today's market price.
Absolutely. Not 3 years ago.
Yeah, definitely. So this is one that I've always, when I first met a lot of people, I'm like, who's your person? Who is your person? Outside of your spouse, I think it is very, very important to have a person that you can vent to, that you can call, that you can literally just be like, this is what's going on, just warning you, but what should I do? Let me just talk it out. How important do you think it is to have a person?
I think it's exceptionally important because you should never vent inside of your company, ever.
Yep.
Especially venting to the people underneath you. I mean,
Yeah.
maybe a lateral, but even then, that's sketchy. You should always have somebody outside the company because, look, sometimes you say things in the moment, in your emotion, that maybe you didn't really mean it. You were just, you figured out a day or two later, okay, that came from a different trauma somewhere else. I didn't really mean that. It's too late. You've already said it. It's out there. You cannot recover that or come back from that. It's extremely hard to go back to your team or go back to your peers or your supervisor after you've already started mouthing off.
But once you say it to your person, you're like, oh, that doesn't sound.
That's right. Sometimes it's just, I'm just going to say it to you. And then a couple days later, you're like, I don't even know why I said that to you. Really, I was pissed off about this other thing over here, So, and then, but I've also been very fortunate in this industry in that there are so many good people. So I wouldn't say I have a person. I have a couple people, and some of them are up here.
Are you really asking about like who's your soundboard?
Yes.
Who are you bitching to about it, but to see if this is a good argument to use to someone else? Okay, that's okay, got it. Because I was like, if you're like, who's my person? Who do I go to? I'm like, listen, I've got a firm. If I say one person's name, the firm will be like, oh, really? Okay, we're gone. Okay, no, that's fine. No, don't worry about it.
Outside of
All of a sudden,
yourself,
don't call my office because there'll be nobody answering the phone. They're like, no, she should call her person. That's what she should call.
Yeah.
So truthfully, I am a big fan of writing things into your notes on your phone. Do not do it on a blank like email thread, because a lot of times, sometimes I don't know if this is working, but I'm loud enough. A lot of times it'll accidentally send. That's happened before. But so I was taught that the greatest remedy for anger is delay, right? So write it down, reread it over and over and over again, and then come back to it. That this industry, the insurance company's goal, and I am telling you it is their goal, between the desk adjusters, sometimes the field adjusters, and definitely attorneys, there are times when their entire goal is to try to, my grandma used to always say, get your goat. Like she was like, don't let them get your goat. And like that is their goal. Their goal is to enrage you. So then you start acting irrational, so they could just be like, well, I don't know why you're yelling. I don't know why you would email like this, and that's why we're not gonna respond to it. So the idea is to really write it down, look it over, review it, let somebody else see it. But my person would be my notes in my phone. If you went through my notes, it would look like ramblings of a madwoman, because I'm constantly like, how dare you? Do you understand what's happening to this insured? Da, 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 da. Like I'll go on and on and on, and then I'll go back to it and go, okay, now how do I be an advocate? Because that's huge. It's one of the biggest things I learned about being a trial attorney was being an advocate is you have to know what that actually means, is that it's not about your ego. It's not about you. It's not about how they made you feel. It's about what is my best way to be able to advocate for this insured. Because if I want something out of the other side, I can't insult them. Insulting their intelligence is not going to work. So rereading it to go, how is this really advocating? Am I just being nasty? Am I potentially name calling? Am I calling them ignorant? Because I'll tell you something. You tell an adjuster that he's ignorant in any way, form, or fashion, and you think you're doing it sarcastically, they're going to find any way to not pay your claim. Yep. And we are an industry that's filled with discretion. That's what we're in. It is discretion. So yes, my person would be the notes on Apple iPhone. Mm-hmm.
Might hack into your phone.
I will tell a little story.
Some good nasty
really
stuff
quick
there.
about
Yes.
this.
Yeah.
When I was at the public adjuster boot camp class, best class I've ever taken, by the way, so hey. I have to
She got paid for it. It was a lot of money. I brokered the deal.
We were on day 4, and I got an urgent message from my assistant, who is my everything, my right hand. I could not function through a day without her. Would protect her with my life. And I got an urgent message from her, and she was literally in tears. Yeah. She had an adjuster call. He was cursing, called her some very inappropriate names. I mean, his behavior was appalling. So I politely said, Cal, I have to step out. Yeah. To go handle something. And it was funny. I really never thought anything more about it. I went out, I called her first. My first reaction was to call the adjuster, but I called her first. And we talked through it. She was fine. And I said, okay, here's what you're going to say. Put this in writing, and you need to copy me. And you say, we don't speak to adjusters on the phone. If you would like to speak to us, if you need an explanation of something, or if you're missing something, you can absolutely email us and ask us for that. We'll be happy to provide. And when I came back in, the whole class looked at me, and I must have had a look on my face. When I came back in, the whole class looked at me, and they're like, so what happened? How did it turn out? But that right there was a moment that how I wanted to respond to what you just said, Candace, how I wanted to respond was if I could have gotten within an inch of him, this would have been a very different today. But how I wanted to respond, I couldn't respond because in the end, as much as I wanted to protect her, anything I did at that point hurt the insured, right? Anything that I was going to do and say was going to hurt the insured. So instead, I prepped her to make the response and fight the battle, and knowing that I was there to support her. It was a tough one.
Yes. That's just one thing that I asked her when me and Sarah first met. I said, who's your person? She said, well, my husband. And I said, no, you have to have a person. And if y'all don't have a person, I definitely advise getting one. I will get Facebook messages overnight, first thing in the morning, no matter what it is, all the time. And I just feel like everybody needs a person. You need somebody I'm a sleep on it person. I don't make really many decisions. If I even get angry, I will sleep on it, and then I will revisit it later because I don't like acting in emotion. Emotion has to be null and void for you to give a valid response.
Even when you're on the phone sometimes, they call and they're coming at you aggressive. They're all the way up here. I'll slow the conversation way down. Can you please hold for one moment? I will pause the phone. I will take a couple of breaths. I will form my response, and I will come back in the most patient manner. They have nothing to argue now. It shuts it down every single time.
They literally want to cuss her out so much, but she is so kind that they're like, you have a great day too. You can hear it.
It's my favorite.
It's definitely a strength of hers.
I let homeowners cuss at me. I give them 2 minutes. You have
your
2 minutes. I'm going to walk away.
Yep.
When I come back, you're not going to act like a toddler throwing a tantrum, and we're going to get this done. As sure as I have contractors go off on me, PAs, other IAs, but I'm like, I have contractors I can't stand. I will throw them off the roof, but I do not let them affect my job for my insured.
Not physically. Not physically throw them
Not
off the roof.
physically. I mean, I want to every now and then.
A legal
but-
disclaimer.
Yes, exactly.
But, and then I call Melanie can you believe what this F did?
Well, she went on a job site, and the PA met her on site up north, and he was immediately combative. Well, you're going to do this, and you're going to do this, and per OSHA, and per this. And she's like, why don't you just let me get up there and see what my arguments may be? Like, why are you immediately combating with me? Let me do it, because I also hold a public adjuster's license, and that does get a lot of movement, and it gets a lot of fight when she is fighting. So
That, I don't think I'm answering the question, but that is why people in the industry that aren't here, that's the professionalism. Like, they need to be at places like this to see what professionalism looks like. And, no one in this room would ever act that way. You know what I'm saying? So, just spreading professionalism and education as much as we possibly can is the only way that stuff is going to go away. And it'll never fully go away, but the more the more we all lead by example and make sure things like that don't happen when you're mentoring young people coming into the industry. Because most of us were a little more rambunctious when we first started, like, I got that guy or whatever. And maybe at the beginning, but it's not a good thing. So make sure when you're mentoring people that you start them out with professionalism, because everyone gets a lot farther that way.
And I definitely open up on Monday and Tuesday, letting them know whatever you are about to say, you might have to say it back in front of a federal judge or a state judge.
And there's that.
And you definitely need to make sure that if you are not willing to say it to a federal judge, don't say it. But also there should be that respect. That's the diversity that I'm talking about with IAs, PAs, contractors, attorneys. We all come together and you're going to respect each other. We all have families to feed. We all need a job. What is the best? One of my other ladies that unfortunately was not able to make it, she wanted a little bit of answers, so I'm going to do this for Tony. What is the best marketing strategy or materials or whatever that you have seen to set yourself outside of the normal? There's a lot of PAs out there. There's a lot of attorneys out there. And I'm not talking about the personal injury attorneys that are now PNC litigators. But what have you done that you have seen has been successful? So hopefully these people don't waste funds. They don't waste overhead by trying to get themselves out there.
I have to take this first.
Yes.
I've done absolutely nothing. We do things the right way for the right reason every single time. I've never done marketing.
You don't have any wrapped cars or?
Absolutely not.
Nope.
People talk. So the professionalism and they talk the opposite too, but the professionalism and integrity and all that stuff speaks for itself. I do go to events like this. We attend things in the community. We educate people. Yeah. And I'm not knocking any marketing. I've never had to do it because we do things the right way. And, you know, as much as rumors fly in this industry or any industry, good things fly too. Yep. And so we take care of our clients and our people and stuff like that. And it's the opposite of the answer. But yeah, reputations precede you, and that's how we've grown.
I think the best is your knowledge, bringing it specific to what is going on in their life. Whenever you're able to take back details that they have told you and then relay it and being able to bring specific knowledge about their case or their claim, it for one makes them feel assured, you heard me, you heard my concerns, you heard what I was saying, and now I feel like you're going to fight for me because you know the specific things that I am going on in my life. I think it's your knowledge more than anything.
She was kind of pushed. She was pushed a little bit, you know, raising her up. Her daddy has very high expectations of all of our kids. She is the oldest, so, but yes.
I've never done marketing per se, but I believe in authenticity. I really, really hesitated in the very beginning, letting other public adjusters, attorneys, you know, clients, even clients, be a part of my Facebook page and to see into my personal life because, I grew up in the military intelligence community. Everything was supposed to be hush-hush to include your personal life. You have to protect yourself and your family, all those good things. But I decided to just take a leap and just open myself up to the industry. And honest to God, I did not think anybody was paying attention. I just didn't.
Oh, we were.
But every conference I went to, everybody was like, "Oh, you're the chicken lady," and every conversation would start about the stinking. And I'm like, I only had chickens because the barn dominium's not built, and I can't bring.
Literally, someone today just said to me, they're like, "The chicken lady." I'm like, "Yeah, the chicken lady."
And eventually, at first, I was like, "Oh, I don't want to be known as the chicken lady. Like, there's a hobby."
It's cute.
But it went from there, and I just kind of owned it. So, but it opened up opportunity. People would just come talk to me about that kind of stuff. And it was just because I was authentic. And the other thing is participating in forums, multiple forums. You're not going to have the answer to everything, but if you do have an answer to something that could help somebody's situation, share it and not expect anything in return.
Educate.
Just share it. Yeah. And just that back and forth. And again, being authentic. Even in my responses, I would say, I'm not sure about this. This is what I have experience with, but let me find you a source of information, like some kind of credible source. And so I would do that. I think it just goes back to being authentic. Word will spread by itself.
Yes, and anything that you put on the internet as well. You might have to present that in front of a federal judge. So your clients will see that. So I know Facebook is a social platform, but anything that you put on there, it can be held against you guys. So make sure that it stays professional. That's
Not optional.
Of course, Jessica.
Jessica did it. Yeah, Jessica said it. Okay, anyone else?
Yeah, I think everyone's kind of said it is, obviously, I think a lot of people, especially as PAs, it's a lot of reputation, right? So it's doing good for the insureds and then they're going to refer you to somebody else, but it's also creating networking and working with contractors and creating those relationships and giving free information and helping each other out. That is huge. I think what's so cool about just a lot of the stuff that we have been a part of and PPA and just so many great other organizations that are saying, we should all be there for each other. So I see so much more of like, hey, I have a claim here, I have a claim there, I have a claim in another state, and people really are sending claims to each other all over that network. And what I would just always remind people about the advertising is being just careful and very mindful of what type of advertising you're doing. What is the message? Just like we were talking, there was a great attorney who was talking about compliance. Huge, nobody pays attention to what you can and can't say. And this is the kind of attorney that I am. I'm gonna tell you what the law is so you know where you should be on that line, right? I did criminal defense to begin with. So it's all like, here's where the line's at. You figure out where you're gonna fall. But you gotta know where that line is at because they are coming for us.
Yep.
If you haven't recognized, I think I say this every time I'm on the stage and I'm like, the insurance companies, the best thing they can do right now is, and the firefighters in the room, to me, I think of it like there's a fire burning and everybody who's helping the insureds are the firefighters and the insurance companies want that fire to burn. And that's the sad part about it, most of them do. And so now they are trying to cut off those people who are helping them at their knees. They started with contractors, got rid of the AOBs in the way. That's really their motivation. It's not fraud. They're not trying to stop fraud. Don't fall into that rhetoric. They know how to stop fraud. They don't pay fraud claims. They definitely don't. So get rid of the AOBs, killing the construction industry, then going after PAs, go after attorneys. That's what they're doing. So what you want to make sure of is that you are in compliance with your documents, your advertising, what you're saying. You're spending the money to go see an attorney like that to say, hey, is my contract in compliance with the law? Because they are looking for any reason. I'm sure you guys are watching the internet right now, what's happening in the news and stuff. The minute that right now with what's happening with the policyholder and just what's going on with Doug Quinn and everything that they're seeing with the fraud, we all see it. That means, guess what? They need to counter it with stories of what the PAs and their attorneys are doing. Yep. So how do they do that? They're gonna come after you. And I know in Florida right now, we were just talking to a couple different PAs that were literally, this will be the question sometimes people ask me, okay, well, what can I do and what I can't do? And I'm like, well, here's what you can't do. Like, that's crazy. I'm like, here's what I'm telling you. You need to follow it. Like, follow what they're saying, do it the right way. Because have you heard of them coming for anybody for that exact reason? No. But we're not at the end of time. I'm like, it could be tomorrow, and it will potentially be. So you want to make sure your advertising is in compliance. And the last thing I'll say about advertising is don't funnel a bunch of money into ads that you can't support. That is huge, especially as you start growing. If you're going to grow a PA firm or a construction firm or a law firm or any of those things, it's always watching and making sure if you're running an ad, you're constantly having somebody at least once a week at the end of the week and saying, how many claims have we got from that ad? Can we handle those claims that have come in? And if not, turn the ad off.
Yep.
Like, that is huge. It's really not being greedy about it and going, I still want to be able to service these people. I can't advocate if I can't service them.
Yep.
If you can't fully, if you can't be hands-on and handle every one of them from A to Z, at that point you'd be doing a disservice to them by taking on additional people that you do not have resources to assist.
Yep. And know what your specialty is. Know what you're good at, right? I see everybody tries to be all to to everything and to everyone. And I think it's really important to know what you're good at. As a public adjuster, your specialty may be, commercial properties or storm claims in general. I mean, I'm just reaching here and stretching. But as a contractor, I know what I'm really good at, right? I know what we are really good at. I don't chase volume because that's not our business model. Yep. We do things that no one else around us is doing, and we do that for a reason. And it's because we started doing that and we stuck with it and we went through the slow period. And what I realized is that about 12 months into it, we had a reputation that we didn't even know about.
Yeah.
So all of a sudden, people would call us and say, hey, I hear you guys are the ones that can handle this. Well, yeah, we can absolutely handle that. But the reputation built itself because we knew what we were good at. We did it the right way every time. We treated people the right way. And at the end of the day, our reputation was there and established, and we didn't even.
You didn't
we had-
overpromise and underdeliver. And if any of y'all need little strains, Vince has a lot of podcasts that he does weekly, I believe. Listen, Vince is definitely a person to try to mold you to play on your strengths and work on your strengths. Let all that other stuff go. I have problems with that. I'm not up here saying that I do it, but I have problems relinquishing. But Vince's podcast, it's definitely on point, and he can guide you in the right directions.
I have a recommendation for marketing. Let's get rid of the word large loss. I'm a large loss only. I'm a large loss this. I'm a large loss. Look, there's other ways to say the same thing professionally.
Yep.
Commercial claims.
Yep.
Condominiums. But large loss sends a completely different message. You know, you're out there with your jets and you're Mr. Guido and whatever. I mean, it's just, it doesn't send a good message.
Sounds
to
like you're not
insurance
really
anywhere.
concerned about all the rest of the people. I feel like the little people would look at
It
that
is
and be like,
very subjective.
they don't have time for me. Or,
Right. 100%.
To every homeowner, like their claim is a large loss, probably the largest loss they've ever been through in their life. Yeah, house fires and hurricanes and stuff. We obviously do a lot of house fires. But I mean, these people literally go through the 5 stages of grieving as they're dealing with the death. I mean, they do. They go through the anger and the bargaining and acceptance, and they go through it multiple times during their claim. Like, it is one of the largest losses of their life. And I don't care if you only made $4,000. Maybe you made nothing. It's sending the wrong message. And there's so many of us with good intents. Yeah, we all like money. Every one of us like money, want to make money. It's not my hobby, it's my job. But at the same time, like, it does sends a horrible message. So especially when you're out there representing us as a whole and you're in the position of leadership to represent the, public adjusters in the industry, like, come on, represent all of us. Don't represent the fancy ones that are out there.
I mean, I think the word large loss was supposed to kind of send a message that, we have a certain type of property we work with the most, like maybe manufacturing plants or something industrial. I think that's what the original intent might have been for that. But again, there's other professional ways of saying that doesn't send this terrible message.
Specialty. Okay, I have quite a few more questions, but we are running out of time. So I am going to, possibly two. What advice do you have for women looking to grow either in their business or within the company that they work for? I already know your answer. Would you like to tell the audience your answer?
Grow a set of balls.
I literally already posed this question last night, and she's like, yeah. I was like, yeah, you have to have backbone. You have to know what to let roll off of your shoulders and what you need to hold on to, and make them hear you. I am very tiny. I wear very high heels, so you can see me, but make yourself be heard. They have to hear you. And women sometimes are like, yeah, well, you just get back to your paperwork. No. Make them hear you. The worst thing to do, or the best thing, as my husband knows, if you want me to get something done and you want me to get it done pretty quickly, piss me off. It'll get done very quickly. Yes, ma'am. Miss Jenny?
I would say stay true to yourself.
Yes, ma'am.
Don't change yourself to conform to what somebody else is telling you need to be to succeed. If you stay true to yourself and this is truly what you are meant to do, nobody will stop you.
Amen.
No matter how many companies it takes to get there, you'll find the place you belong in.
Yes, you will. Every time. Might take a couple years, couple of falls. You're going to get that no about 1,000 times. But on that 1,001st time, you're going to get a yes. Keep on pursuing, keep on pushing. Don't stop just because you were told no, or just because you were told go get back to the paperwork. No, you're going to hear me.
I think you have to know who you are, and you have to know what your why is, right? If you go into this, regardless of whether you're a PA, a contractor, a server, whatever your role is, if you go into this and you don't know who you are internally, you will be pulled and sucked into so many different things that don't fit you, right? You weren't made for that. I am extremely organized, But if I had to sit behind a computer 8 hours a day, forget it, just kill me now, right? It is not going to happen. I am very organized, and therefore I can see when the people in my organization are disorganized. And so rather than go organize them or do it myself, I teach them to organize themselves, right? But in general, I think you have to know who you are and know what your why is. It's very easy for someone to say, you're really good at this, you should do this. But just because I'm good at it doesn't mean that that's what I want to do.
Yeah. Yep.
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 Again.
No, love it.
Back to Vince.
No, yeah. Know your who, not your how.
Yes.
So absolutely.
To new people coming in, so people, I think I want to be a public adjuster, I think I want to be this, I think I want to be that. And we actually allow people to sit with or participate, actually kind of make them sit with or participate in every little, department. So they're with intake, they're with estimating, they're in the field, they're with the desk. They're all of these things because they thought they wanted to be, my executive assistant, she wanted to be a public adjuster, and I encouraged her and I helped her, and she got her license and stuff. And I think she did it for maybe 3 weeks, and she's like, put me back to my desk. And seriously, I couldn't survive without her for a minute. But there's a few people in the company that have tried different things. And when someone comes in, the first 90 days, they're all over the place, and you find the right place for them, because you don't want someone, I thought I wanted to be this, but I'm more productive over here. And not everyone's going to know, especially like the younger you are. So let them explore different opportunities.
Let them see to appreciate all the other parts as well. Yeah. They think they want to be that person, but you're really not truly taking in what that job title means. So make sure you know what you're approaching.
Desk adjuster just sends emails. I got this.
Yeah.
I'm also realizing that it takes many different people, and I may be good at lots of things, but I'm not going to be as good as going out there and getting on a roof. But my specialty is talking to people, and also organization. So knowing what makes you who you are and what seems to get to people, for me, that is my voice. So being able to find somewhere within my organization and my voice that works for me and makes me feel like I'm still truly assisting people and I'm getting that fulfillment on that end, I wouldn't have the same fulfillment doing other parts. So knowing
I don't want to do that. No, please don't.
knowing what your strengths are and being able to put them into play, I think is a huge part.
I would think, as a woman, as a female, giving grace to men in general that we work with. Not every man or has seen or worked with some of the women of our caliber.
Powerful, headstrong.
Right. We are very high caliber. Sometimes that's quite intimidating.
They would call it.
And I don't think it necessarily makes the men we work with, bad or anything like that. I think it just may take some time, but it does happen. Big Mo trusted me to help build a whole company.
Yeah.
And Randy, I worked with Randy Thompson for hurricane season. Exceptionally supportive of my talent. There are plenty of men out there, and I think if we just give grace to everyone in the industry, the men mostly, they'll see our worth anyway. Yeah. I don't think there's a need to, woman power, boss bitch, all those other terms that all these women like to throw around. Just be present, be supportive, and the whole team will see that it's not a male versus female anything. It's just we're a team. We're united.
Yep.
We're PAs, not female PAs, for the record. We're just PA. There's no pink or blue, whatever.
No. Purple. Blue. So I have another question, but I think I'm going to just go ahead and end it there, because that question is, what does bad faith mean to you? Okay. Yep. So y'all want to end it, or y'all want to approach that topic?
We should do that one tonight when we're out.
Do y'all have any questions for any of us?
Does anyone have questions?
Questions, concerns, comments?
Yeah. Do you feel that the industry is becoming more accepting to your presence here?
To your presence here.
Can I please let me answer?
Yes, please do.
I feel like it's 50-50.
We never noticed or cared. I I don't even know. Do you know what I'm saying?
I do know
Accepting of
exactly
our
what you're
presence.
saying.
I totally understand your question, but it never occurred to most of us on this stage to notice or care. But I know what you're saying. I never asked them. I don't need their permission. Never asked, and no disrespect to any man in here whatsoever. But it doesn't occur to us the type of headstrong women we are.
But the acceptance of in general, not whether or not you as a person will accept it.
No.
As the owner.
Because not everybody's strong like y'all, which is the point about being out there.
Give them to us so we can help them.
Right. And
Being accepted without having to have your demeanor.
I do think that the acceptance has become more prevalent. I will say that I think there was no other option. I think that it's become very apparent that we are here and we are here to stay. And so I think it has across the board, the men that I work with, I came from a Marriott background, so for years I managed projects, renovating and remodeling hotels, and I can't count the number of times that subcontractors or whatever companies would come and say, "Hey, I need to speak to the project manager." I'm like, "Oh, that's me," and they give you that look like, what are you talking about? You can't be the project manager. Clearly, you're not a man. Yeah. And so I long ago encountered that and got over that and have really never given it a lot of thought. But where I see it, and kudos to every female, whether you're a PA, an IA, a desk, whatever your role is. But I have seen over the past probably 2 to 3 years, so many contractors that are female-owned or have a tremendous staff of female installation crews or female sales, executives. I've watched this, and I actually was kind of taking note at one point and making like my own little, statistical scale here that said, wow, these are all females that are installing. I mean, I have one in the Midwest that I've hired, all female crew that does the installations, right? Same thing with sales. I have actually, for the first time, I have 2 female sales executives on staff, right? But I do think if you really look at it, it has become more acceptable in every role. And I have to say, as public adjusters, all of y'all, I absolutely love female public adjusters. Men, love y'all too. But the females, I love it because you guys, you all have this empathy that is so authentic and so natural that to me, I can feel that when I talk to you. I feel that empathy. And so I think to me, it's become noticeably more acceptable in so many different facets that the answer to Cal's question is yes, I do think it's become more acceptable.
Yeah, I think the more women that enter into the industry, the more acceptable it starts to be. And it's not so much acceptable, it's still shocking. I mean, even it's crazy as it sounds, being a woman attorney, there's been times that I've gone into court and they do think that I'm the court reporter, or they do think that I'm the witness or any of that stuff. And I don't think it's not discrimination.
No.
It's because it is rare. It's when you see a contractor, if she's a woman and she says I'm a contractor, it's not you're discriminating because you didn't think she was the contractor. It's because it's still just rare. I think the more women who step into this industry and who really fight through it and realize it's not someone discriminating against you. Because unfortunately, the insurance company does it to everybody. They're going to talk like everybody's stupid, So, but you feel like, is it because I'm a woman? And then what we have to do as a society in this industry is being accepting and really reaching out to each other, like being okay to say, hey, I want to build a relationship with these other public adjusters, other contractors, because I want to get their perspective of it. Because here's what I'll tell you about women, is that if you tell me something and I'm not sure if it's right, I'll find every single way to tell you it's wrong. So it's like, I know these women up here and me, myself, give us some of those questions. Be like, listen, here's what they said. Let me send it to you, because if anyone's going to get to the bottom of this, is going to be a woman. And that's really, truly it. So there's great ways when we can work together and realize those strengths when we're talking about those strengths. And I think it still is intimidating for women to get into this industry, and how we can help change that is by being accepting of other women that are in the industry, working together, but also the guys working with the women. And I know everybody in this room is a great caliber of people that are doing that already, but there are a lot who are not, who are really against it and feel like they don't know enough. They don't know about construction and all those other things. And it is a misconception.
Well, the main gender gap, I feel, is we're our own barrier.
Oh, yeah.
We won't let ourselves get there because we're putting that on us, on ourselves. We're too much in our head.
I thought it was good how Cal said is that what he was also alluding to is that there's a part of it we didn't realize, that all the women that are in this industry are a lot of strong women. What happened to the other one? Where are the other ones at? Like, you shouldn't have to be strong to get into an industry and to survive in an industry. It shouldn't require that, but if you really think about it, it requires it for everybody. Everybody in this room, you have to be strong, especially being a public adjuster. I always say, as an attorney, I know a high likelihood that if I take a case, I've reviewed it, we're gonna win that case. So it's just a matter of time. But as a PA, you take a case, you're not able to file a lawsuit, so you only can go so far. So your actions are cut off, not by your ability or knowledge or advocacy or any of those things, just because of what you're able to do, which is a frustrating thing every single day. Or as a contractor, the thing when we talk about contractors not talking to insurance companies, for my contractors, I say, don't worry about it being illegal and all the other stuff. Worry about the frustration you're doing when you're talking to somebody who's telling you how it should be built when you've been building it for 30 years. They're sitting at a desk telling you that. So don't think about it as like, oh, I want to I should be able to talk to the insurance company, I know that. You should be like, it's not good for your business model for you to be on the phone trying to explain to sometimes a 5-year-old how to build this house correctly. Yes. And they're going, no, you don't need any of that kind of stuff. So that's really kind of what kind of takes place. So I just think us all being, empathetic to each other and being really helpful to each other can change a lot.
Yes.
I don't necessarily think that what sets us apart is that we're strong women, because look, in this industry, you have to be a strong person, period. Yeah. You have to have that backbone. You're standing up against billion and trillion dollar budgets that are out to, get you. And I mean, so really, I don't think that we are any stronger necessarily, because the men in this group are quite strong. Like, I think it's just a personality and a tenacity part of it too.
Yep. Well, do you want to?
To answer your question, Cal, no, I don't think it's as acceptable still. I go out in the field all the time, and I have contractors who won't get on the roof. The PA won't get on the roof. I get up there, and they look at me like, well, where's the guy carrying your ladder? Or I don't know how we're going to change it. Most people think women should be in the office dealing with, because we are good at that. But I prefer to be out in the field, and every single time I show up, and I got some contractor or PAs just recently in Oklahoma and Kentucky who never even stepped foot on that roof because it was 11/12. Yep. Well, then how are you going to tell me there's any damage? I had a contractor, for instance, tell me, oh, I did the drone photos for you. There's all this hail. I was like, really? Because this is a 12/12 with open valleys, exposed metal, and there's not a hail ding on it. He left. He tore up the homeowner's contract and left because he didn't think I would get on that roof. I bought that roof. And I even convinced the homeowner to upgrade to a Decra metal. Like, just, it's not as acceptable. We're not accepted in the field.
I think, Cal,
What's our expected results?
Imagery resonates with people, like especially in the age of scrolling through whatever. It seems to be we're all very image focused as a society now. So seeing little ads or commercials or whatnot of women on the roof with the cougar paws and chalking up the roof, not highlighting them specifically, but putting them in the mix with the guys and having those images out there, whether it's social media, it's anything like that. I think that it'll, in the back of their minds, it just becomes more acceptable naturally. Like, this is normal. she's on a roof, you know, he's got his infrared camera, whatever, like, it's
And
normal.
how do we do that without sexualizing us?
Right.
Yeah, but I mean,
Well,
like,
polos
it's
and,
not about,
yeah,
like,
we're close.
You have your. That's not our problem, but it's just we shouldn't have to advertise ourselves based on, hey, let's put me out there and on display.
There's
You
a
know,
question
like,
in the
please
back.
don't, like, I
Question.
had a-
What's
you
your
know,
question,
don't take me
sir?
a photo of me bent over on the roof.
I think that we have, and we cannot speak on behalf of, but I think it starts with us. But how do we get that to the industry? How
I like that. Yeah. Well, yeah, it's building relationships with women and not assuming that they just don't know anything. So it's like if everybody just takes an opportunity to say, you know, I'm going to talk to this PA. I'm going to at least let her know that I'm a resource for her, that she can come back to me and vice versa, and just not assuming that they're ignorant. That can change, and then we just have to encourage other women to come into the industry. But that's really between the two of them. It's, I mean, advertisement, all that kind of stuff. No, it's just over time. We're taking steps to get there. I mean, you've got a panel. They're all women driven, and there were years ago when you would have never thought of that. There were barely few PAs. Contractors were all males. I mean, it's slowly changing every single day. It's not going to happen overnight. But what we can do is create a welcoming, safe environment where we're not degrading or detrimental to each other and just assuming that they lack knowledge because they're female.
And I think you have to ask, it comes down to asking yourself, you know, if you're a male that owns a company, right, regardless of whether that has to do with public adjusting or contracting or attorney, whatever, I think you have to ask yourself, are you looking and actually finding those females and embracing them and bringing that talent into your firm? Are you proactively doing that? Because although most men are not consciously against it, they're also not proactively doing it, right? So I think you really have to make it a point to cognizantly say, have I brought in female talent and recognized the value of that female talent? You know, as a contractor, many of my female clients are the decision makers, right? Many of them are making the decisions.
I have always said I couldn't imagine what could be more successful than a roofing saleswoman. I'm like, you're going door to door, and it is the women who are handling, especially insurance claims. It's women. It's all women. It's not normally men. Especially a residential sale, like residential is going to be a woman handling it, and I think there's an immense value in that.
Right. No, I agree entirely. So I think we have to just say to ourselves, are we cognizantly doing that and bringing that talent in? Even though we may not even know that I mean, it's not that we even have that it's adverse in any way, but it's more of am I making an effort to do that? Am I recognizing and bringing in that talent? And what's the value to my firm when I do that?
I think, like Candace said too, it's something that's been slowly ongoing. So yes, it is in the progress, but how can we as individuals, male or female, bring it to light and do actions that make sure that is the ultimate goal is coming out?
We're running way over.
And we're way over.
We're hungry.
Let's get a round of applause for the women's panel.
Thank you, everyone.
And let's break for lunch. Fortunately, lunch is going to be served here, and then we'll be getting started back up right about 1 o'clock with Attorney Candace Gallucci.